Hey there, welcome to Tired Old Queen at the Movies. Let's go see the one and only Steve Hayes.
Ooh, Johnny, I thought you'd never get here. Come on, I got so much to tell you. Johnny, we hadn't done an action-adventure movie in a long time, so I decided to do one of my favorites, Andrew Stone's The Last Voyage from 1960, starring Robert Stack, Dorothy Malone, George Sanders, Edmund O'Brien, and Woody Strode. This movie is about a ship sinking, and it is one of the most suspenseful films of the period. They shot it on an actual ship, the Ile-de-France, which had been a huge ocean liner. It was a liner that they used to rescue the survivors of the Andrea Doria accident that happened a few years before. It was a gorgeous, old-fashioned ocean liner. It was in Japan and they were going to finally scrap it, and they sunk it. And they shot this movie on an actual sinking ship. It starts out so exciting from the very beginning. The first thing you see is the captain holding a piece of paper that says "Fire in the hold," and he just shuts it like that. And it's George Sanders, and he says, "Excuse me, I have to go and attend to something." And he goes out, and the whole boiler room is going up in flames. And it starts it that way, and it never ends. Edmund O'Brien, his father was on the Titanic. He is the main guy down below decks, and he says to the captain, "We are in so much trouble. This ship is so old. It is time. It never should have gone on one more voyage. We are in big trouble." Suddenly there is a humongous explosion. Dorothy Malone and Robert Stack and their little girl, Tammy Merrihew, are a family, and they have gone to their stateroom. Robert Stack has left as the explosion goes up through the main dining room, up through the ballroom, and up through the cabins. She is pinned under all of this wreckage, and the little girl is pinned in a hole that goes 5 decks down to the bottom of the deck, and they can't get at her. He runs downstairs and he finds this incredible guy, Woody Strode, who's been working downstairs. They're trying to get men who are trapped down out of the place. You know, the water is coming in. They're trying to shore up the bulkheads before the ship sinks.
Metal must have sprayed around this place like shrapnel. We haven't a chance in the world of plugging that one up.
At the same time, George Sanders is in complete denial that there's anything wrong. He says, "Oh no, don't evacuate the passengers yet."
That bulkhead holes will still be okay.
Dorothy Malone's legs are pinned under this wreckage. Every time they move her, she screams in pain. She cannot get out, and the water starts rising.
What about hacksaws, chisels? It'll take too long.
At the same time that he's trying to keep her head above the water and keep her from drowning, he's also trying to save his daughter, who is on a bed that's on the very ledge of this hole that she could fall and get killed on. This little girl is so amazing because they shot it in this studio. I don't know how they did this, but she is so brave. You can't believe that she is actually doing this. Woody Strode, they realize that the only way to get Dorothy Malone out of this wreckage is to get acetylene torches, and they only have 1 tank. Dorothy Malone said this shoot was really harrowing because they were on a certain allotted time. They couldn't just stop, and once they started the ship going down, they had to shoot things really fast.
Better try and close those portholes.
They were shooting in the sea off the coast of Japan, and when they actually sunk the ship, but they had to shoot a lot of the water sequences in San Francisco Bay because there were so many jellyfish in the water off the coast of Japan that they were getting lacerated by the jellyfish, so they couldn't film any of the water sequences there. The fact that they're on an actual ship, you get the feeling of what this really must have been like. There's a scene where they're running down the decks and the deck chairs are just floating out. The whole thing is going down. This guy, Andrew Stone, was famous for his action pictures. He had directed a lot of documentaries and stuff, and he and his wife just pooled their resources to make this particular movie because they had so much faith in it. And it had, 3 Academy Award winners, Edmund O'Brien.
Blimey, what can you do to me now? I've seen my men drowned, killed, mangled, crushed. For what? I'll tell you, because you were afraid if you didn't bring the ship in, you'd be through. Finished!
And George Sanders.
If that first bulkhead had held, or if the second one had been just 1 foot higher, just 12 lousy inches higher, we wouldn't have lost one single solitary passenger.
Dorothy Malone and Robert Stack.
Oh, for God's sake, Cliff, will you take Jill and go? Will you please do what I ask?
Darling, you're asking the impossible.
Pairing up for the third time, they had done Written on the Wind, which she won the Oscar for and he was nominated for. Then they did Tarnished Angels for Douglas Sirk, and then they did this one. Dorothy Malone was one of those sad-eyed, she had the saddest eyes in Hollywood. I've always loved Dorothy Malone. She breaks your heart in this because she keeps saying, you've got to leave me. There's no use. You're never going to get me out of here. Save our baby.
Will you please get off this ship before it's too late? Please, please.
And he says, I'm not leaving you. And this little girl, he says to Woody Strode, take my daughter and get her into a lifeboat. I don't care what you have to do. And, she is screaming, I want my mommy, I want my mommy. And, you're going crazy because you just know the time is running out. It's just, they're just on a limited time. This is the perfect way to spend a muggy summer night in July. Go on an ocean voyage with Robert Stack, Dorothy Malone, George Sanders, and Edmund O'Brien in The Last Voyage.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Just bring the DVD out further from your face.
This movie is The Last Voyage. The Last Voyage.
Can't be beat.